Now, this is Mike Fever of the United Kingdom. He sent these pictures of his Thunderbird. He's been watching all the finishing videos. Looks like he's really come a long way here too. He just moved, so if anybody's mailing him any mail, don't send it to the old address. He has a new address. And of course, this is a Bob Palmer Thunderbird. Beautiful job here. Real nice finish. Said he got all the information on finishing from the videos. And just one final thought here, you know, being these came in from England today, we now have people that have complete sets of videos in South Africa, England, Germany, Sweden, and I'm just trying to think, you guys may be able to save some money because shipping these things overseas is so expensive. Why not? Anybody that has these in the British Isles or in Sweden or whatever, make them available to the other people that want to look at them. They're all over the world now, and we're really proud of that fact that they've helped so many people. Pass them around. Make sure other people get to see them and benefit from the knowledge. Now, these are the kind of photos you look at years later and you have to laugh. Of course, this is me. And I was using welding goggles at this point, and a nice beard and sideburns. I don't know what this is, the Gilligan's Island look-alike contest here or whatever. Anyway, you can see I was a pretty shaggy dog until Karen cleaned up my act. So now that I'm such a neat, clean guy, I don't curse anymore or anything. It's good to look back at where my caveman beginnings. There's a picture of Dave Midgley, and needless to say, anybody in the loop here that doesn't know yet, his wife had a baby girl. He now has 2 beautiful children, and Dave, now that all that stuff's over with, get on with finishing the airplane so we can go to the Nats this year. You know, having a baby is not as important as getting to the Nats on time. Anyway, congratulations, and congratulations Sharon too. Let's see, this is the reason I like to have all these old pictures. Here's an old picture of Bill Rich from God knows when, launching Jim Tate's plane here. But having all this stuff, now if this was the only picture I had of Bill Rich, well, hey, how many people can I loan it to or give it to? And it disappears and it gets lost and whatever. Having this stuff on video is so priceless. And here's just one example of that. Bill Rich from years and years ago when he lived up here in Jersey with the tough guys up here, and then he moved to Florida where he can fly all year long, and we lost respect for him. Jimmy Borelli, good story here. This guy watches every video on the planet. This guy, this is his wife Debbie of course, this guy has benefited so much from the videos that in his first year, the first time he went to the Nationals, he was in the front row. Congratulations. You're alright. I don't care what your wife says about you. Now, speaking of old and decrepit, this of course is John DeTavio, and he's the one that's doing the renovation on the house with me that's basically eaten up my whole life here. But John did a nice big cookout at Flushing a couple of years ago. Free food for everybody except me. Refused to make me a pizza, so there you go, John. Bingo, bada bing, bada bing. A nice picture of Big Jim here at one of the Flushing meets that we won handily, and of course he takes the trophy home and melts it down and makes cigars out of it or whatever he does. Never lets me keep the trophy though. I don't have a caption on this picture, but it sure looks like one of Jim Kostecki's Formula S's, an old picture here. Looks like a real nice one anyway. Picture from one of the old Edison contests. Marty's probably looking at his watch thinking, hey, when can I get this over with and go home and watch the rest of the soap operas? Now, just so everybody knows, and this will be the last picture and we'll get into what we're going to do on this video. We started at the end of this year before we had the house cave in on us. We started building up a built-up tail. We're not going to finish that till next year. That'll be on the 94 set of videos, and we're going to do a set of flaps like this. Due to a lack of time, one of the original plans was for this ship that I'm flying now was to make a set of these flaps and be able to interchange them back and forth right at the field. We did wind up making 2 sets of flaps, built up, geodetic, and solid, and we did get to change them at the field, but we did want to have a set of these, what I'll call them bubble flaps for lack of a better word. We will not get to do that till a 94 set of tapes, and so given this, that we're not going to be able to finish this, we're going to basically go over the trim changes that we did to the plane in the first couple of weeks out, and from this point on, I guess most of what we're going to do is be trimming the plane and doing the modifications that give you a lot of flexibility at the field as far as trimming the airplane. Now, in case you haven't noticed from the last time we videotaped, we did get about 2 or 3 days flying on this. We haven't been able to get any video yet on it. We certainly will in the future, though. We've been doing train show videos and been real busy with the house. But a couple of the things I want to mention now in the program is we have flown both planes. What I've done in the process of flying both of them is make a determination which is the better of the 2 planes, and it certainly looks like this one is the better of the 2. At least from the early stages, we have about 2 days of flying each one, and one real intense day of flying this in a wind and some real battleship conditions that led me to believe this would be the better of the 2 airplanes. So what I'm going to do is develop this plane, and I basically want to go through what some of the things I've done so far in the first few days of flying to make this plane as competitive as it can be as early on as possible, since we do have a contest coming up in 3 weeks. Now, I did put a little hole in the fuselage here, and of course having this vent now, it allows me to run uniflow pressure without this piece of tubing going to the tune pipe. It allows me to run normal uniflow, pipe pressure, or header pressure. I can run 3 different things on each one of my tanks, and I have 3 tanks, so I have 9 different possibilities here as far as setting up the motor run. And in my box, you can see I have a set of wheel pants for flying over grass, which have the legs bent way forward, a set for flying off the concrete, and a set of gear for flying off grass. So I have 3 sets of landing gear legs made up just for this particular plane at this early part in the development. And this is one of the things that I think you can learn from this part of the information you can pick up. Let's face it, you can pick up information from magazines and whatever and by word of mouth. But picking it up off the video, I want to lay out what some of my options are early in the program. Now, we've only really had maybe 2 gallons of fuel through this plane, and yet we want to start trying and testing all the different possibilities and all the combinations and coming up with, hopefully in 3 weeks, what's going to be our best combination for going into the competitions that are local competitions that are coming up real soon. Now, the first decision, of course, in any program, we have 2 airplanes, is which is the better of the 2. Let's call the number 1 plane the tweener, and the other one the Harley. And if you've been watching these videos, you know which is which. Alright, first decision to be made, if you do this like a flow chart, is you're going to have the 2 boxes, and you're going to have, come down here, and you're only going to have 1. So at the end of, really, 4 flying sessions, we've eliminated the Harley, and that will be the backup plane, and the tweener will be the number 1 plane this year. So here we are in the first decision box. First decision box. Now, what we did on the first couple of days, we went out, and on the first day, these were the things we tried to determine. Will this plane pull 70-foot lines? And you got two possibilities, yes and no. Alright, we trim it for 70-foot lines, put enough tip weight in it, it'll carry, yes. Now we can go on to the next part of the development, because the whole plane gets trimmed around line length. Then the next thing is we determined what diameter prop. From all our experiments last year, we basically wanted to come up with spinning a 12-inch prop. We know the VMAX is pretty happy turning these Bryan Ether 12-inch 2 blades. So we basically eliminated some of that right out of the program. The Venturi size, we know we wound up last year, having made 50 Venturis, we wound up with a 275, and that was about the best possible early on combination for the VMAX. Alright, Then we went out, we also set the pipe at 18, 18.5, and 19. Those were the 3 possibilities for last year. Now with the heavier plane, 18 seemed to work good. This year's plane is light. We're running it around 19, 18.5. And so we got the pipe length sorted out relatively quickly. The lead out's back 1 inch behind the CG. The plane is balancing at 6 inches from the hinge line forward. So we wound up just starting with the lead outs at 5 inches, and that was pretty close. It's within 1/8 of an inch. So what you can see by looking at this is on the first day at the field, we can kind of go line length, prop diameter, venturi size, get the pipe set. We can kind of dial it in early in the program. And this is just going to give us like a basic trim. And what this did, it allowed us 2 or 3 days into the flying thing to be doing real nice patterns, having real consistent motor runs, because we basically used all the knowledge that we had from last year. We got the ship in basic trim 2 or 3 days into the program, and now it gets to the fine tuning. And this is the part I want to describe in a little more detail. And what we did, we have a set of built-up flaps, and we have a set of 1/4 inch sheet flaps. Try to just draw this out. And what we taped the hinge lines. Both hinge lines were taped. Flew the plane with 1 set of flaps, switched the flaps, and found out that this particular plane at this point in time likes the thin flaps. We got a much crisper corner with the thin flaps, and it seems to lock into neutral a little better. So in this case, we're going to go with the thin flaps. Now the reason we want to have all these adjustments is obviously we want to fine tune this within the next 3 weeks as close as we can, but we need these things to do it. We also have the 3 sets of gear, 2 pants and 1 leg. So we have 3 sets of gear. We can go and decide which set of wheel pants does it fly the best with. Both of them are dialed in to get the vertical CG right. We can fly off of grass. We can fly off of rough pavement, or what I call smooth grass. And then we have a real nice pair for the gnats that I hope we'll have with no dents and dings by the time we get to the gnats. But we do have these spare parts. We also have props. And this is, if you haven't seen the prop video, for sure you want to check that out. We know from last year's fooling and testing and whatever that somehow we settle in at about 12 inches on a VMAX. It seems like the VMAX 40, and we do have 2 40s in the program now, the 40 seems to run best at about 11.5. It doesn't really like to turn that 12-inch prop. That's the advantage of using a 46. We do have a 46 in the plane now. The 46 and solid lines, all 14s. So if you were running braided lines, you would have to run 018s. We're running solids, so we can run 014s. So what you can see is, I guess the purpose of all this gives us a little bit more on the fine tuning. So we get this done early on in the program. That's the whole object of this. Now what I'll do this Friday, we're only going to be flying Saturday and Sunday. What I do on Friday usually is I'll sit down and make a list. I take out my little notebook and make a list of what trim changes I'd like to try, what props, and in what sequence. So what I might, for instance, what I might want to do is get to the field, get a couple of baseline flights, and I'll want to try a smaller diameter prop. But the first thing is get a few flights on a plane, kind of get comfortable with it, and then try that prop that you've been waiting to try. Try a few trim changes, move the lead outs forward or back depending on what situation you're trying to compensate for. But the point is here, and it's very, very important, very, very important, man. Make a list, get a few flights, 3 flights, before you change anything, because there's nothing dumber than getting a whole plane changed down in your cellar, and then you get out to the field, you fly it, and now you don't know, well, which trim change, you know, what happened here? Plane flew good last week, now it flies like junk. It's better off to start. Start where you were the previous flying session. Hopefully it was still flying good. Then get 2 or 3 flights, make a few trim changes. Try a few things. Keep notes of what you're doing. Now, If you still have a question, obviously you want to either drop me a line, Bob Hunt, somebody, Ted Fancher, somebody that can try to help you out. Get the thing dialed in, sorted out as close as you can. At this point in time, though, you want to do it in a methodical way. You don't want to go to the field with a newly trimmed plane. You always want to start with what you had at the end of the last flying session. And I know what I've done is I've gone and reshimmed things and changed things and moved things, got to the field, and then I didn't know what the hell changed from the week before. I said, gee, last week it didn't do this, now it's doing it. Oh my God, we got a pain in the neck beyond belief here. Now I just want to mention one other thing. On this plane we do have removable flaps. Okay, and this ship did need a slight flap tweak. Even though the vertical CG was real close, it did need, and I'm going to draw this from the back of the airplane, it did need a flap tweak. And what it needed was to have this flap bent down, and it was probably a 64th of an inch, and this one up, so that we have, if we could look at this, and this, we could see this in neutral, this one would be a little bit down, and this one would be slightly up, looking from the back. All right, and having flown that combination of the tweaks, I found out neutral was not exactly where it should be, because what was happening to me is I was getting, when I tweaked the flaps, I'd pull the flaps off and tweak the horn, I was getting the neutral on the elevator a little bit wrong. And I don't have any slop in this plane right now. That's one of the things we're still going to fine tune. So I want to caution anybody that's doing a flap tweak, you have to hold the elevators in neutral. Get somebody to hold them in neutral while you tweak. And what I've been doing is one vice grip plier, one vice grip plier. What I did find out, though, and this is very interesting, this may or may not help you somewhere in the future, is the plane flew the best when the flaps were both in neutral and I had a little trim tab on the outboard wing. Now I surmise the reason that this flew a little better is because this added some drag. And I'm just guessing at this because I don't have enough time on a plane now to really make a commitment, but I'm going to try it back and forth. It flew better with all the control surfaces in dead neutral. It tracked better and cornered harder and just had that little trim tab on the outboard wing, maybe the size of 2 postage stamps. And I just taped it on for the time being because I'm still in the process of moving things around here. But very interesting. I've always trimmed the plane with trim tabs in the past rather than flap tweaks because I've always had non-removable flaps. Now that I have removable flaps, I find out it still flies better with the trim tab. At least at this point in the development of the plane, it seems to like the trim tab better than a flap tweak. And whether that works for you, if it does, let me know and we could pass it on. If anybody out there is a rocket scientist, can figure this out, give me a call and let me know. But that's my conclusion right now. Now what I always do, I always start with a handle where the cable is even to start with, and then I try to dial in the turn of the plane without adjusting the handle as the first try. But if that doesn't work, then I wind up moving the handle. And in this case, where we are right now, the down is where it normally would be, and the up line is up by 1 hole, and usually that's an 1/8 inch. So what this is telling me is the plane has a tendency to turn just a little tighter on the downside than the upside, and this 1/8 inch compensates for it. And as of the end of the last flying session, we had it turning almost dead equal. So start out equal and then go on to having the spacing or whatever it is, but that's telling you what you can do to the plane to get the final trim on it. This is just getting you in the ballpark. Getting this handle adjusted in fine increments is a great way to fine-tune the plane if you run out of options. This has always been a lifesaver to have. Last but not least, after a full day of trimming, we added tip weight. That, of course, is the biggest performance gain. When you lose the top of the hourglass, when you lose the a typical place is the top of the overhead 8, it gets soft. Add tip weight. Now you're going to wind up with a spot at which the wing drops. Then you're going to have to take a little bit out. But the added tip weight, and that's the purpose of building equal panel planes. Equal panel planes always carry more tip weight. When you make a bigger inboard wing, it seems like you only can carry a very little tip weight, and you think, oh boy, I saved an ounce, but the plane never really does trim out 100%. At least none of the ones I have been really satisfactory. The equal ones, when the panels are equal, it seems like you can always carry extra tip weight. You always get a much steadier line pull, and I'm in favor, as of right now, of having all the planes in the future equal panel. Now, a question came up for somebody that was building a Nobler kit that I sold him. If you're going to make a Nobler and you want to make equal panels, well, everybody knows a Nobler has unequal panels. Do you make this wing shorter or this one longer? Here's my suggestion. Make them both longer. If you're going to convert an unequal panel plane to an equal panel plane, add to the outboard wing, don't take from the inboard wing. And when you do that, of course, make sure the flaps are mirror images of each other. When you do equal panel planes, you want to have mirror images of each other. You don't want to have one bigger, wider, thicker, thicker at the tip, thicker at the middle, all kind of crazy combinations. Equal everything always seems to be the combination that works the best, for me anyway. Now, last but not least in this thing, we're using VMAX 46s, and we just got, last week, we just got back from Big Jim, an experimental motor. If anybody's taken a VMAX apart, you know it has a little tiny combustion chamber in the head. Jim has machined up a head that has a very large hemi-combustion chamber, and we have one day of flying on this head, and this head really seems to tone down the power and make it a much better stunt run. So in the quest for getting the most performance, we're still playing with it. A stock head is about 200 pounds per square inch on a compression gauge, and the Hemi head right now, we started at 170 and we're down to about 160. You still have tremendous torque and power. You can still turn the 12-inch props, but the motors run much cooler, much smoother, and seem to run more like a stunt run. And I don't know if that's the right word here. What we've all come to acknowledge as a stunt run. Getting the thing hemied out rather than having the stock head is a real important thing. And rather than go into a big dissertation on this, if you have any questions, give Jim a call, and we will be working with him extensively over the next year or so on trying to develop a real nice, soft, predictable power package for the VMAX. Now, give him a call. Any question relating to tanks and motors, give him a call. Now, last year, Woody Midgley made me up a couple of experimental tanks. I have one in a plane so far since it's brand new, and it's worked real well. It's a baffle design similar to Big Jim's tanks, and we're trying to do some experimenting with it. We have different uniflow positions and different venting, but as of right now, he refers to it as Tank A. I still have to run experiments on Tank B. There's different venting involved in it. As of right now, the Tank A is working just near perfect, so I'm almost hesitating to even go out and try Tank B. But what I want to do, and here's the reason I'm putting this on the video, is I want to run Tank A maybe 20 to 30 flights, get it clean that the filter doesn't have any junk coming out of it, fill it with fuel, put it in a box. It's the backup tank. Now get a new tank out and a new filter, run it till it's clean. Now you have your spare tank sitting in the box, all set to go. If you have a leak or you have a problem, you don't have to worry, just switch tanks, zip, boom, bang. They've both been running planes. There's no point in having a gas tank that hasn't been running a plane, hasn't been shimmed, have the right shim tape to it, and it's sitting in a toolbox filled with fuel waiting to go in a plane. If it's sitting in the toolbox all rusty and waiting to go in a plane, have 20 lean runs with a filter, it's not going to do your program much good. So if you get from this video some of the tricks that I've learned over the years, have the spare tank run, filled with fuel, and in the toolbox. Now it's a real backup quarterback. He's got his helmet on and his uniform, and he's been burped and, you know, gone to the bathroom and everything, and he's ready to do some work for you. And many people I can remember, Chuck Holtzapfel, for one, would get to a contest, have a tank leak. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. You're trying to solder it and fill it with epoxy and everything. If you have a backup tank, home free all. And it's in a toolbox, filled with fuel. It's already been run. Doesn't get any better than that. And that's the thing. If you can pick up that mentality off of these videos, you are going to be so far ahead of the game than if you just wait for accidents to happen and you know, kind of live with them and whatever. Pick up that mentality, that competitive mentality, and spare part mentality, and experiment mentality. Get all these mentalities, I don't know what the right word is here, but ingrained in your system, that you don't just go to the field with one fuel tank, one spinner, one prop. I have 3 boxes of spare parts that go with this plane when I go to the field. But when I go to the field, it seems like I'm ready to go flying, and I don't lose days randomly. Hopefully don't lose them. And so this is my suggestion, is try to pick up. Today in the mail I got a picture of Jerry Price. This is his Fierce Arrow, and he's sent along a little note saying he rebuilt the nose a la Big Jim nose construction, and it works great, and he just was thanking Big Jim, and maybe thanking me by mistake. He should be thanking Big Jim. Jerry Price of Burlington, Iowa, and he's picked up an awful lot off the videos and starting to contribute some pictures of his stuff. He has 2 Cardinal kits out there now and 2 Nobler kits, so let's hope we get some more pictures of the new stuff, especially the Cardinal kit, when he's ready to show it off. We'll be waiting, Jer. This is a real nice looking plane. Peter Zwada, this is his new plane for '93. Sent this picture along with some hardware that he sent me from Poland in exchange for a motor. Charlie Parkinson of North Carolina sent some pictures in of some of the things he's building. These are all the new planes for '93 the people around the country are building. Try to get this on the video. More of Charlie Parkinson's collection of airplanes, his Air Force. I guess one of the new planes he's building here. Looks like a Vico Chief here. Anyway, this is the end of Charlie Parkinson's pictures. And Kevin King from Canada has been doing the silver off the Pro Stunt videos. Looks like some of the pictures he's sending of his Cobra here. Argus, Cobra, whatever this is. Again, I thank all the people that have, this is Kevin King's stuff, I thank all the people that have sent these in. And here it is, just like Steve Woolley finished it. Beautiful. Now we're getting ready. We loaded up the van already today, and tomorrow and Sunday is the Flushing contest. We'll try to get out there and get a little footage of some of the guys that have new planes for this season, and some of the planes you're probably sick of looking at. They'll all be at Flushing. It looks like we have a good weekend coming up, and I just hope the weather holds up. We're at the 1993 Flushing Model Air Show here, and Jose Modesto looks like he's getting ready for his first official flight. Mike's giving him a launch. A lot of people here with new planes. We'll try to get everybody's ship on the tape if we can. Right now the wind is bearable, but yesterday the wind was absolutely unbearable, so we really don't know what the day's going to turn out like. Let's see what we have coming this way. Had to work on a house for those people that have been following this illustrious job. We're about 2 weeks away from finishing the rental house. We've moved into our new Victorian house and started the renovation. So we have 2 house renovations going at the same time. And obviously we're tired. We've been working till after midnight every day. Had all my friends, and I want to thank them all the friends that helped me move. Peabody, Damarel, Batavio, Richie. George Ventrini, people that loaned me their vans and trucks. It really was nice to see how much support you have from your friends in this hobby. Anyway, we did make it to the contest. We have absolutely no practice. We came out yesterday, tried to get a flight at about 7 in the morning, and the wind was blowing about 40 miles an hour. Actually, a very unproductive trip. I should have worked on the house. Anyway, well, after Jose gets his flight, we'll run over and see who's here. Looks like we have a pretty good turnout. It's a little cool. It's about 50 degrees according to the radio. Expect Big Jim to show up later. He's got my new VMAX, decompressed VMAX. Got the new decompressed VMAX, the one we only have about 1 day of flying on it, in the purple plane now. John's going to fly the green plane. He's got a highly decompressed motor in the green plane. It's got 145 pounds of compression. The one in the purple plane is 170. These are both Big Jim reworks. And he's got another motor he's hopefully going to bring out to the park today. I'm going to have Jose Modesto. Now here's something you've never seen done before. Wendy Ortnowski's going to bring a kit out to the field and build it and fly it on the first official flight. One kit left from the last batch here. We'll try to sell it today or pawn it off on some unsuspecting person. Anyway, hard to get good wood for these kits, and we have a real limited supply. If you want one, obviously give me a month or so to put one together for you.
So I put tip weight on my house. And add tip weight.
I'll tell you how bad it was. I got up on a 40-foot ladder and came right down. I never even went down and got the paint.
Don't even think about it.
And then I had trouble getting the ladder down. I couldn't pull the ladder down against the wind. Unbelievable. Is this Lampione's new ship?
Yeah.
He copied my paint job. I want money.
It's kind of Mickey Mouse.
I'm going to send him a bill. Yeah, Mickey Mouse color scheme. I don't know. Can't go for this. Who else is here? Vic Macaluso with his Crusader jet. Bill Suarez. Mike Rogers' new show. Adamusco. Oh, he's here.
The man from
He's here. Mrs. Adamusco. All right. Hey, way to go.
I see you have your painting jacket on.
You got it. Heard you coming over after the contest to paint my house for me. Not a chance, huh? Off of a paint job this is, I'm telling you. Mickey Mouse decals. Oh my God, look at this guy. Unreal. By the way, ladies, he did not paint these lettering on a job. This is a press-on lettering job. Who monocoated this for him? Walter? This guy shows up at the Nats, ladies and gentlemen, protesting. He didn't monocoat this himself. File an official protest. This gentleman right here is Moses Quintana. He owes me about $300 from a debt he owed in 1960. Look at these guys. Hey, who said they don't allow gays in the military? Look at these two guys. Hey.
I'm trying to sell him your kid here, but he wants your phone number.
Get out of here. he can't afford that kit.
Oh, he can afford
You
it.
can't afford that kit. That's money. Only Bill Lindemann can afford that
I
kit.
got money I haven't spent yet. Oh, Jesus. If you need somebody to help you count it, I'll help.
Jose, you want to buy that? Joe's selling it.
This one?
Yeah.
How much? $8,000?
I don't know. It's not cheap. That's for sure. He doesn't like that one?
Well, he built a new one already.
Knowing him, he probably got another wing starter already.
Yeah, give Moses your phone number.
I don't even know my phone. I just moved. I know. I have to get it from. You know who's got it? Judy's got it.
I got it.
I don't have it written.
935. Get a pen. I need a pen.
Bill Lindemann doing the appearance judging on the planes. Yeah, the wing's starting to come up. Typical flushing day.
Always cut them down.
Now you'll notice these guys are shoplifting things, taking tip weight out of my plane, bending a landing gear backwards. Unbelievable. Unbelievable lack of sportsmanship here from Steve Busso, the man who promised the Cardinal plans in May of '92 and did not deliver. Come on, what's the excuse of the day club over here?
He had paralysis of the right hand, I was told.
He has paralysis of the brain, I think. Yes, sir, he promised the Cardinal plans in '92 and delivered in '93. Look at this. Would you buy a used car from this guy? Look at this. Here they are putting dirt in my hinges. Unbelievable. Lack of sportsmanship. You like big flaps, huh?
I do. I think they're real big.
You like big women?
I don't know. Depends on who you're talking about. Where's she at? Local girl?
Never quick with a comeback, Steve Busso. Ready for the Johnny Carson show.
Politician.
Politician, yeah.
Never get pinned down.
I will not raise taxes. Read my lips. I will not raise the AMA entry fee. Look, thank you, Steve. You're a real sport. Anyway, I guess they're having a pilot meeting.
Yeah.
Let's go over and hear the bad news.
It depends if you want to start the taping or I'll start.
I got a phone about
I think everybody's got to be over against that thing. Got two guys doing it. Just let them know. Mike, your flyers here available for the next two contests. Bill Lindemann has a contest. Bill? Where's Bill?
Next week.
Next week?
Next Sunday.
Cam Kilmer next week. The Air Mac contest.
Westover is June 12th.
Westover June 12th. There's flyers on the desk.
Hey, John, make sure you get flyers so
There's flyers over there.
we can take a break from the sheetrock.
There's one more contest here. Circle Burners, June 27th. That's going to be a big contest.
Here's the man who single-handedly set the world's record for calling in sick. John DeTavio.
Phase 2, all right. Red Reinhardt Perpetual Trophy, which Windy hopes to win again, but I don't think he'll make it this time.
Forget it.
I think I'm going to make it.
Forget it.
Joe, telling Westover's running Nostalgia and Old Time on Saturday afternoon and Tampa classes on Sunday.
Could be a two-day contest.
Everybody heard that. All right, we want to get started. Judges, you can pick up the clipboard over here. Oh, yeah, Rick here has a little comment he wants to make. No, experts first. Experts first.
Bob Hunt. If you want one and want it shipped to you, it's another $5.
Say that again, Rich. These are $30.
25 if you buy them and wait till a contest, and 30.
All right, if
Otherwise, ship to your house.
anybody wants one of these toolbox, who are they supposed to call? John Misk?
Call me or Wayne or anybody at Circle Burner.
Anybody at the Circle Burners, they're selling these as a promotion. Circle Burner toolboxes.
Very light. You know, in the hunt tradition, it's very light.
Very light, yeah.
All right, any questions?
Put it down in the grass and the handle
keep it
breaks
safe.
off.
Watch for people that may come onto the field. The gate is locked, and I'm going to lock that gate in a few minutes. We should be able to be safe here.
Hey, Wendy.
Hey, Vulture, what's up? How much do you get?
How much can I get for a trade?
You get $10 off the next $10 purchase. Okay. We get rebates now, just like the car companies.
You got me on every tape, so.
You're a world famous guy. How you doing, Judy?
Mike Cook, where is Mike Cook? Mike Cook.
Nice.
Yeah, one of those days.
I'm gonna watch the line.
About 5 guys, so you can help out. Clipboards, stopwatch I got.
You're gonna give me a safety.
Oh, it's only cute.
Oh!
Put it through. That's it.
Yep.
Loading the car for it.
Now look, you heard in the paper that Midgley's baby was kidnapped. Here's Midgley's baby.
Good, how are you?
Kidnapped. You gonna give him back?
Hi, Mike. Nope, this one's ours.
Ah.
This one. Hi. How are you?
Hi.
Say hi, Mike. I'm the latest addition to the Conti household.
Oh my God. Anything for sympathy votes. Hey Mike, don't you love these guys come in for sympathy votes?
Yeah, well, they
Oh
get
man.
Hey, this is your next flyer.
Oh man. The future of the event.
Bitter.
You know, I'm getting nervous. All the stunt flyers are showing up with babies. I buy a house and they have babies. I don't know, it tells you something. Something's wrong here.
Here he is.
Smile.
How old is he?
He's 6. How are you?
Bobby, you're number 1 fisher? You need somebody up there?
Yeah. Now when you're ready, say.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Because yours have got a curl here. What we got here? Bobby, live the owner. Oh, get him, Bobby.
Looks perfect to me. These are the ones you made right off the video.
Yeah, right off the video. 7 laminations.
Yep.
I got a whole bunch more holes in there.
Yeah, yeah. You custom tail like shoes.
Right.
Let's see how it feels. Oh yeah, super light. That's the way to go. I like the way you carved that down. That's nice.
Yeah, 2 coats of dope.
And the spaghetti tubing on the line clip.
Yeah,
That's another good trick.
and they happen to match my airplane
Oh,
too.
knowing you, it would match. No, that's good. That's a good setup. I found a place where they have that spaghetti tubing in all different colors. They use it for fishing lures.
That's right.
They make lures with
That's
it.
right. I got mine.
Anybody needs that tubing, find a sport goods shop and pick up some tubing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just till you.
So our judges today, Ron Connors, Dave Cook, Mike Cook, Too many cooks up there, and they're not even unrelated. They're not even related. That's the judging corps for today, anyway. Lampione has the first official flight. Hey! Hey! The wrestling matches must be over. He showed up early today.
Tail end of Steve Busso's flight, preparing for Wendy Arnowski's first flight of the day. This is Wendy Arnowski's tweener.
You better hurry up, there's a buck coming up here. He's going to take a bite right out of the tail. Look at this little bastard ready. He's coming over to take a bite right out of the tail. Yeah. Come on, dude. Can I help you? Good luck.
I'll take it off for you, mister. Yeah, all right.
It's the only time I've ever flown one of his airplanes. Took a 1/4 inch off of each blade.
It flew better, right?
Yeah, I had Billy Suarez's line adjustment handle. It was like, neutral. This is neutral. And it pulled so hard I had to use 2 hands. And when you use 2 hands, it's not as sensitive. And the airplane started going like this, and I had to let go. What a beast.
Did you do a little free flight there?
That was the green monster he's got. It's Toxic Avenger.
Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Busso, the world famous.
Infamous.
Infamous.
I see my pink handle. Come here.
As they say, infamous.
Who's this going to?
This is Wendy's.
Oh,
you got to be
great.
careful. You got to be careful. He's gonna send this one all over the place.
Hey!
Go. Uh-oh, turn it over time. All right, Wendy, let's go.
Suarez, first flight, pushing medals. Willie Suarez. Flying the Checkerboard Express pattern master, being assisted by his wife Terry. Great team. Jansen and Steve Busa.
This is Tom.
See, there's Big Jim in the background. first flight Flushing meet. This is the spring of 1993. Thinks he likes that. Suarez. Billy Suarez.
Nice flight, Billy. Nice flight.
Mike Rogers' first flight Flushing, spring 1993. This is the Joe Ortiz Invitational. These are the faithful judges, 2 cooks and a conner. Mike Rogers. Super Tiger 46 powered airplane. Well, Super Tiger 40 now. Powered ship. Rogers, first flight, Flushing, 1993, the Joe Ortiz Invitation. Wendy Arnowski. Front row for his whole life, every year. Wendy Arnowski. Arnowski.
It is windy after the first official flight. Try to get some of John DeTavio's flight on here. Flying the old Cardinal. Big Jim VMAX 46, decompressed, 145 pounds. 10% TAF TP fuel. Brian Ether 12.5 by 4.25 prop. This is a nice setup to replace a 60 with if you're going to replace a 60. A little too powerful for the tweener. The tweener's needing a little bit less power. We got a 12-inch prop with about 4 inches of pitch on it. But it's probably going to get gusty later, and we hope to have a good showdown. I don't know what the scores are yet. Billy had a nice flight. Look to have a second round when the wind gets going shootout here. Comes the wind, I feel it now. Here it comes. You can see the planes bouncing around here pretty good. The wind just shifted about 80 degrees in a circle, which always makes it handy too. On deck's going to be Vic Macaluso with the jet you store on the Stunt Forum videos. Vic's been flying. He had some flying last week, he said, but the wind blew him out most of the days. So look forward to seeing how the jet's performing. And hopefully, you know, you get to see these planes fly, that even a Jose, by the way, thanks to Jose for videotaping my first flight, if he got it. I don't know if he got it. It was kind of lumpy, kind of bumpy air here today. And like I say, we always look forward to that second round shootout when the judges get warmed up, kind of a thing. We'll see how it goes. Needless to say, John's been working with me 14 to 16 hours a day doing a sheetrock job over at the house, doing all the sheetrock work and stuff, so neither one of us have much practice, but we definitely want to come out and support Joe's contest. And it's a shame we missed Harrisburg. That was the day we moved, but we will not be missing Edison next week, and hopefully starting to get ready for the Nationals, maybe even get a few fun fly days in. In case you didn't realize it or hadn't heard, Bradley's is now gone completely. I think next up on deck is going to be Vic. Hey, notice Billy Suarez eating back here. What's he eating? Hey, Bill, you chew like a cow. Jeez. Guy wins one trophy and he's chewing like a cow. This is going to be Vic Macaluso's, well, his first contest with the Crusader. This is the plane, one of the planes that was the feature plane on the Stunt Forum thing. It's basically an SV-11 modified to look like Crusader. Similar to Vic's older model, it was a 35 ship. Air is reasonable. I wouldn't say it's as any better or worse than it was this morning. It's certainly flyable. Nobody's getting blown out of maneuvers. Notice Bob Lampione's pants. Can you believe this guy? He buys these at a women's clothing store. Let's see who else is here. Greenaway's here. Guess which one is Greenaway, the nice skinny one. Mike. Mo Quintana sitting to his right. Mo Quintana, look at these pants. Can you believe this? Mike Cook, one of the judges. What the heck is Mike doing here? Oh, he's taking up the wing covers off of his Acromaster. Jimmy Connody's down here from New Hampshire. Good showing, actually. Pretty good showing today. Let's see how many entries they had in Expert later.
Bucks, trucks, tricks, or what?
Joe Adamusco's here. Vic's using a three-bladed prop that he de-pitched himself. This is an OPS, a Bobby Hunt type of setup, Billy Werwich setup, OPS. Move my plane! Of Selden, Long Island.
Wendy, can you get my flight?
I'll get it, Jose. Let me get in position. Oh yeah, the wind is terrible. The Shamu blimp is in here to videotape the contest. I don't. You have the blimp flying overhead here and whatnot. All right, next up is Jose Modesto. He did some videotaping for me, so to get even with him, I'm going to videotape his flight. We're running out of batteries here, so very shortly we'll be running out of batteries, so we'll get what we can. These are all, basically everybody except Billy Suarez is flying a new plane that they're not real familiar with now. We had trouble, we had to take an attempt on the first go-round here. We had some junk in our pressure fitting. And we're still working the kinks out of this new plane, the tweener. Still trying to work out the kinks. Get the right prop for it, the right head on the motor and things like that. And Jim's been evaluating the VMAXs on anytime we've been able to get out of here, but we haven't had really a lot of good air. It's been mostly unflyable windy air that we've had. So that you don't get a real picture of things getting better and worse, you just get a picture of can you make it through, can you make it through. And you know, I guess you've seen that on the last flight, even though the flight was a little rich, we did go right through, so that's one of the byproducts of flying in terrible air all the time. How close to the gainer do you think you came? 2 feet?
I would say it was a 2.
2? Yeah. That's what Whiteley said, and he had paint missing on his rudder. I don't think you're missing any paint.
You gotta laugh at these things.
That was one of the prime square 8s of all time. Captured for you here on video. And you can see the wind is actually getting better and better now. It's better than when Billy and I flew, so I'll just see how the day pans out. Cardinals everywhere, pattern masters everywhere, jets everywhere. Good day. Good to be away from the sheetrock. And it looks like the pre-flight tension is getting to Jose here. Wiping his lines down for the 400th time. Come on, Jose, you can do it.
yourself these pylon type connectors. Where'd you get them?
Can that line connectors?
Yeah.
I got them. Yeah, I got them. Sullivan's that makes them, yeah. Jose Modesto apparently has a problem here. Let's see what it is. Maybe he saw me have a problem and he was jealous. Who knows? This is Jose Modesto's first season in expert, I believe. He was advanced last year. Actually, last week was his first expert contest in Harrisburg.
Joey.
No,
that son of a bitch is just going 15 grand and not good, right?
And it's much leaner in outsides than insides. That's the problem.
You think that's a problem?
It's a tremendous problem.
I think that
Speaking of problems, hey, Shamu, you know? What are you taking, another official here?
Sure.
Hey, Bobby, they starting a second round already? Oh, okay. This will be Joe Adamusco's, we're running out of batteries fast here. I hope I can get through the whole flight. Joe Adamusco's, I think, first flight on his new Cardinal.
Yeah. Pretty airplane.
Yeah, pretty ain't the word. Beautiful.
Wait till you see mine.
I'm waiting, Rich. I'm holding my breath. I'm turning blue. Big Jim Hemi in here, Super Tiger 60. All of the traditional pattern master setup things. Adamus and muffler. To move thanks to these bozos here. I thought we had a good spot where we wouldn't be hit by the sun, but I guess inconsiderate people like Jose and his friend here. If I had a poker with a nail on the end, it could be so much fun. Thanks a lot, guys. I think this is Joe's first Contestant expert too. This may be his first expert. He moved up from advanced. Yeah, I think he did fly advanced all last year. Joe Adamusco, Newton, PA.
landing. Nice landing.
Signal? Yeah. Yeah, he has a tendency to do this. Yeah. You know? He gave me one of these. Yeah, well, come on, pay attention. We're human too.
This is the best. I wanted you to watch this flight from here. This is the best view of the flight. This is the bird's eye view of the judges. And he's the top flyer here today, so we'll see about the best maneuvers. He's about to go into the wing over. Right in front of the judges, out the other side. 4 feet down. Up again. At 45 degrees. He put 6 laps inverted. By 6 inverted and the rounds again at 45-degree angle and 4 feet off the ground. Those are the parameters. Next one is inside square 8, 45 again and 4 feet. The outside square 8, he climbs to 45 and then dives down to the ground. That's about the scariest maneuver. That's the scariest maneuver of them all. 2 triangles. 2 triangles, now he goes into the horizontal 8. 1 round there, 1 round on the other side. And 2 of them perfectly over one another.
That's the way me and you fly, Jose.
Yeah. Square 8. These are the same 8s but with sharp turns to it. Maneuver is called an hourglass, which is similar to the 8 but with all sharp turns, and the shape is of the shape of an hourglass. trouble with today is that overhead H. They will start right in front of the judges and go up. Now this is the best view for the four-leaf clover, four loops together. And it starts at 45-degree angles. And then you go into the first loop. Starting now. Second flight.
the final results in intermediate. Had a very unfortunate crash. Lloyd Burkpool, a kite flew into his brand new Magnum and destroyed it. It was just a little, oh, here's Lloyd over here. Second flight, the kite came in and hit him. It was flown by a little kid, didn't know. Billy won expert. Let's see, you can't even tell the points pretty. I can't read it. Anyway, Billy won, Wendy was second, Mike was third. Who's fourth? Can you read this? Joe Adamusco was fourth.
Says, true, that is, in which it is to lie, fled to the river, strong encouragement, hope said. Now, what is accomplished the gathering? Yeah, Tanya, Station 4, Station 1, their mechanic, the ransom, but Jesus, Papa, go to down to the sequel, took a ship, opposite direction. So what is that from our study? Well, we learned wisdom, place, choosing. I saw it. Look to me. Way again. Salvation. The result. The search. To the cross. Good news. Mark chapter 8. Whatever. Be willing to give up. If we really want life in the future, an assembly location for the club. This is us. Tired. Express the interest and your is special. Perseverance is matrix for transference. Mankind, there is we know that many more are now held in prison houses. 9 to 12, all to go, all of these, and to those, revealed from all north, liberation, place.
Dilating introduced 3 millimeter 5 millimeter equipped with a reducer advanced duct. The glide wire into the common duct. Advance the catheter into 2/3 of the balloon cap is left in the duct. Levine syringe, rated balloon pressure, in this case, 12 atmospheres. Unusual in the human, the balloon through the cystic duct. Inflation should be for approximately 5 minutes. Then deflated, drawn, leaving the wire. 10 French microscope threaded over the wire through the cystic duct into at this point, the wire is withdrawn and the stone can be visualized in distal bile duct. Through a basket, the stone is captured. Subsequently,